As the senior prefect of your school, you have realized that certain conditions in your school militate against academic exercise. Write a letter to the headmaster of your school complaining about these things. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to English Lessons Online. In today's lesson, we shall be looking at the formal letter. The formal letter differs from other types of letters in respect of its features and the language used. To begin with, what is a formal letter? A formal letter is also called an official letter. It is a letter written to someone in his or her official position. Thus, letters written to government officers, business organizations, school authorities, and many others fall under this category. For example, letters written to the headmaster or headmistress, district chief executives, principal, and so on. Now, let us look at the language used in formal letter. In writing a formal letter, only standard English vocabulary and expressions are used. Formality demands that we are concise in our language use. This means going straight to the point when we provide information. The following must be avoided when writing a formal letter. 1. The use of abbreviations like e.g., etc., ie. It is expected that these are written in full in the formal letter. Pidgin language or slangs. Words that indicate too much familiarity and seem colloquial. Idiomatic expressions. For example, the use of statements like "a bird in hand is worth two in the bush" or "throw in the towel" are not allowed in the formal letter. Proverbs. Exclamations such as "wow" and others must be avoided when writing the formal letter. Contracted words such as can't, don't, shouldn't, and so on should be avoided. These must be written in full as cannot, do not, should not, and so on. The table below shows some words that are used in formal context and others that are not. Formal, informal. Wish or would like, formal. Want, informal. Glad or grateful, formal. Happy, informal. Inform, formal. Tell, informal. Grant, formal. Give, informal. Examination, formal. Exam, informal. Advertisement, formal. Advert, informal. It is, formal. It's, informal. For example, when you want to write a formal letter, let's take for instance you are writing an introduction. You could write it as, "I wish to bring to your notice certain challenges we are facing in school." Or, "I would like to bring to your notice certain challenges we are facing in school." Do not say, "I want to bring to your notice certain challenges we are facing in school." So, in writing your formal letter, be careful in your choice of words. The words used should be formal and official. Now let us look at the features of the formal letter. There are basically 10 features of the formal letter. They include the following: writer's address, date, recipient's address, salutation, heading, body, subscription, signature, writer's full name, and designation. The formal letter begins with the writer's address. As the name implies, the writer's address is the address of the person writing the letter. The writer's address is written at the top right-hand corner of the page. It can either be punctuated or not punctuated. The writer's address has at least 3 lines. The first line contains the name of the institution, company, or government ministry, and many others. The second line contains the postal address. The third line contains the name of the place, town, village, or city of the writer. Here is an example of the writer's address in block format and punctuated. Wassce Senior High School, P.O. Box 40, Wassce, full stop. The first line contains the name of the institution, which is Wassce Senior High School, followed by a comma. The second line contains the postal address, which is P.O. Box 40, followed by a comma. Then our last line contains the name of the town, which is Wassce, followed by a full stop. Take note, the full stop usually comes on the last line of the address if you choose to punctuate it. The remaining lines take the comma. Please, you can choose not to punctuate your address as well. Let us look at the case where you decide to add the region. You could choose to add the region or the district. So if you choose to do so, bring it immediately below the town or city. Please do not abbreviate the region. Write it in full. Upper East Region. So when your address contains 4 lines, then the full stop should come on the 4th line. This is the punctuated method. Remember, you can choose not to punctuate this as well. Now, let us look at the date. The date on which the letter is written comes immediately below the writer's address. Please take note, the date is not part of the address. So, you can choose to leave 1 line, then write the date, but it is also acceptable if you do not leave any line. There are 2 commonly used forms of the date. Here are examples. 4th November, 2021, full stop. November 4, 2021, full stop. Please be careful not to abbreviate your date. And do not use only figures in writing your date. Make sure the date is written in full. Here is an example of the address together with the date. Now, let us look at the recipient's address. This is the address of the person to whom the letter is sent. This is written at the left-hand side of the page immediately below the date. Please take note, do not attach date to the recipient's address. The date is written only once below the writer's address. The recipient's address is usually made up of at least 4 lines. This implies your recipient's address should not be less than 4 lines. The first line contains the official title of the recipient. The second line contains the name of the company or organization of the recipient. Third line contains the postal address. Then the last line, the name of the town, city, or village. Here is an example of the recipient's address. The headmaster, Navrongo Senior High School, P.O. Box 50, Navrongo, full stop. Please, your writer's address must be relevant to the question. If the question demands you write to the headmaster, begin with the headmaster. If the question demands you write to the district chief executive, begin with the district chief executive. The next thing we shall look at is the salutation. The acceptable forms of salutation for the formal letter include the following: Dear Sir, Dear Madam, Please take note of something here. Dear begins with capital D. Sir begins with capital S, followed by a comma. The same thing applies to the second example. Dear begins with a capital letter D. Madam begins with capital letter M. Dear Sir is used for males, while Dear Madam is used for female. Take note, the salutation is usually followed by a comma, and it is written immediately below the recipient's address. The name of the recipient is not used in the salutation of formal letters. Also, it is wrong to begin the salutation of a formal letter with hi, hello, or my dear. Now let us look at the heading. The heading serves as summary of the subject matter of the letter. The reader should know what the entire letter is about by simply looking at the heading. It is often written in block capitals and underlined. It is written immediately below the salutation. Now, let us look at an example of the heading. Permission to be absent from school. Underlined. Please take note, your heading must be relevant to your question. If your question is asking you to write about the causes of teenage pregnancy, then your heading should be the causes of teenage pregnancy. If the question demands that you write about youth unemployment in Ghana, then your heading should be youth unemployment in Ghana. So always make sure that your heading is relevant to your question. The body of the letter. The body of the letter is divided into three parts: the introduction or introductory paragraph, main body, conclusion or concluding paragraph. Now, let us look at each of them one after the other. Introduction. The introduction is where we mention the reason for writing the letter. When writing the introduction, informal expressions like "How are you?" are not allowed. The tone of the letter should be serious and formal. No humorous statements or personal information is tolerated here. When writing the introductory paragraph of your formal letter, make sure you go straight to the point and indicate the reason for which you are writing the letter. Here is a sample question to guide us on how to write the introductory paragraph. As the senior prefect of your school, you have realized that certain conditions in your school militate against academic exercise. Write a letter to the headmaster of your school complaining about these things. Here is an example of an introduction for the above question. I wish to bring to your attention certain conditions that are slowing down academic progress in the school. It is obvious that students are becoming indisciplined, that teachers hardly handle their lessons, and that our school library is not well equipped. As we can see in this introduction, we went straight to tell the recipient why we are writing the letter. and the language used here is formal. Or you could also write it this way: I am writing to bring to your attention some conditions which are negatively affecting academic progress in the school. So this is another way we can write our introductory paragraph. As you can see, we went straight to the point. Now let us look at the main body. This is where we discuss what has been hinted in the introductory paragraph. The main body should be divided into short paragraphs, each paragraph addressing a topic sentence. So the main body is basically where we elaborate on the purpose or reason for writing the letter. When writing the main body of a formal letter, always remember to link the paragraphs with transitional markers like furthermore, secondly, again, however, etc. You make sure each paragraph addresses a topic sentence. Now let us look at the conclusion. This is the final paragraph of the formal letter. In writing the final paragraph, emphasize the salient points in your letter. Let us look at an example of a conclusion. I hope that an action will be taken to ensure that students become more disciplined, that teachers attend classes regularly, and that the library is well equipped with useful reading materials. So here, we emphasized on what we already spoke about in our letter. If your letter demands a reply, for instance, you could say, I look forward to hearing from you, or I look forward to receiving a reply from you. Let us look at the subscription. For the subscription of a formal letter, yours faithfully is most widely used. However, yours truly and yours sincerely are also acceptable. Note that the subscription is followed by a comma. It is written at the right-hand side of the margin below the body of the letter. And please take note, when writing yours faithfully, Y should be a capital letter while the F is small letter. Yours faithfully. The signature. The formal letter is not authentic without the signature. The signature comes immediately below the subscription. Writer's full name. Immediately after the signature, the writer's full name follows. Please, when writing your name in the formal letter, please do not use only your first name, and also do not use your nickname. Make sure the name is written in full. Then we have the designation. This is the position which the writer holds within an organization or institution. So if you are a student, your designation is student. If you are the secretary, your designation should be secretary. If you are the chairman, your designation should be chairman. Now let's look at examples of the subscription: signature, full name, and designation. Yours faithfully, comma, signature, Abugri Amos, Senior Prefect. These are examples of the subscription, the signature, the full name, and designation. This is how it's supposed to appear in your letter. So yours faithfully, followed by a comma, signature, then Abugri Amos, which is your full name, then Senior Prefect. The designation is usually written in brackets. So this brings us to the end of today's lesson. Please leave a comment down below in the comment section and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Thanks for watching and see you in our next lesson.